Put new Does in your washing machine. Finest Does you've ever seen. Bigger news now when you sing. D-U-Z does everything.
The new Does brings you The Guiding Light, created by Erna Phillips.
Never mind, Mary. I'll get it. Yes?
May I speak with Mrs. White, please?
May I ask who's calling?
Dr. Bowling.
Now, how are you, Doctor? This is Ted White.
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
Never better. I'll call my wife. Mater? Mater?
Yes, Ted.
The call is for you. Dr. Bowling.
Oh? Thank you. Hello?
I'm sorry, Mater. I didn't think your husband had returned from his camping trip.
He and Chucky got back last night. I suppose I should have phoned you.
It's quite all right with me.
Don't worry about me.
How are you?
I'm all right, Ross.
I would have phoned earlier, but I was unable to get in touch with Dr. Hewitt.
Dr. Hewitt?
The child psychologist.
Yes, I'd forgotten for the moment.
Do you think you'll be able to see him the first of next week?
Anytime.
Well, supposing we say Monday morning at 11 o'clock here at the hospital.
Shall I bring Chucky along?
No, I think the doctor would rather talk with you first.
All right.
Supposing you stop by at my office.
I will, Ross, thanks.
Not at all. I'll see you then. Goodbye, Mater.
Goodbye, Ross.
This phone call from Dr. Bowling was rather inopportune, wasn't it, Mater? You realize that Ted is going to ask for an explanation. I wonder what you're going to tell him. The truth? We'll learn more about this in a moment.
For white washes without red hands, I've gone back to Does.
Yes, for white washes without red hands, the swing is back to Does. Does does everything in your wash and does right by your hands.
I didn't think about my hands when I started experimenting with some of those no-rinse chemicals, but my hands couldn't take it. So now I'm back to Does. Does gives me white washes without red hands.
Is a pair of red hands the price you're paying for doing your wash? Then use Does next wash day and inspect your wash carefully. Have you ever seen such dazzling whiteness, such thorough cleanliness, such brilliant colors? Have you ever seen all this with such wonderful treatment for your hands?
Does can promise this because of the way Does is made. Only Does of all leading wash day products contain such great quantities of real soap, extra rich soap, combined with 2 modern detergents. Only Does contains these quantities of rich, real soap balanced with 2 modern detergents.
That's why Does gets your clothes so wonderfully clean and white, while it gives extra safety for colors and almost toilet soap mildness to hands. That's truly why Does does everything and does right by your hands. Get Does today. You'll say it, too.
For white washes without red hands, I've gone back to Does.
I think, Ted, I'll get ready for bed.
It's rather early, isn't it?
I'm a little tired.
What was it the doctor wanted, Mater?
It really isn't important.
Phoning at this time of the night, 10 o'clock. He must have had a reason.
I think I told you once before that I'd rather not discuss Ross with you.
I have no intention of discussing him with you. I merely asked a very casual question. If you don't care to answer it, that's entirely up to you.
There's no secret about it. I haven't been feeling quite up to par. I phoned the hospital this afternoon and wanted to make an appointment for a checkup.
Oh?
Dr. Bowling wasn't in. I left a message for him to call.
Just what is it that seems to be wrong, my dear?
I don't know. I just haven't been feeling too well.
I'm sorry. I was thinking only at dinner time how well you looked.
Looks can be deceiving, Ted.
Of course, my dear. When is your appointment?
Monday.
I sincerely hope the doctor doesn't find anything wrong. Perhaps you need a nerve tonic.
Perhaps.
Why don't you go to bed, then? I'll be along shortly.
Good night, Ted.
Good night, my dear.
I've never been here before. It's so high. Too high. Chucky, don't go near the edge. Chucky, don't go near the edge. Hold on to Mother's hand, Chucky. Please, hold on to Mother's hand. If you don't, you'll fall. If you don't, you'll fall. Chucky. Chucky. Chucky!
Rita! Rita!
Chucky!
Good heavens.
It's the same dream. I can't stand it. I can't.
Wake up, my dear. You've had a nightmare.
Oh, I'm sorry. Turn on the light, please. What time is it?
It's after 2.
Did I awaken you?
I was just dropping off to sleep.
I'm sorry. It was so vivid, just like the last time.
Where are you going?
I'm going to see how Chucky is.
I was in his room only a half hour ago. He was perfectly all right.
That was a half hour ago.
You're not fully awake, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm awake. I am being stupid. Of course Chucky's all right.
Shall I turn off the light?
No. No, please don't. I won't disturb you, will I, if I read a bit?
No, of course not. Only... And did I understand you correctly? Did you say something about the same dream?
Yes, in every detail.
What same dream?
I know this must sound very silly to you. It even does to me. And yet it's the 3rd time I've dreamed it.
Do you care to tell me about it?
I don't think you'd really understand.
What is there to understand about a dream? A nightmare?
If I hadn't dreamed it before, I might not be so upset.
That isn't unusual, you know. At the university, I had a recurring dream, a nightmare, on more than one occasion. Even after I'd graduated, I experienced the same dream. You see, I never really liked mathematics. It was my weakest subject. I had a great fear of the examinations, fear that I wouldn't pass. I used to awaken in a cold perspiration, thinking I hadn't graduated. There was always one problem I was unable to work out in my dream, and because of that problem, I failed in the course. I deduced later, after I had graduated, that there really wasn't any reason for me to be concerned about passing a course in mathematics. But whenever I was up against something that was difficult to solve, the old dream or nightmare came back. There was a simple explanation. I finally concluded any difficulty that I thought could not be solved took the form of a mathematical problem that I could not work out. I'm sure there isn't one of us who doesn't experience that sort of thing at one time or another.
There was a very rational explanation for your nightmare. I'm not so sure there is for mine. I can't explain it away, Ted. I thought when Chucky and you were on your camping trip that I was very much concerned about Chucky. I was afraid something was going to happen to him. That once you and he were home again, that would be the end of my nightmares. But tonight I'm really frightened.
And what was the nightmare? Tell me about it.
It's so far-fetched, I'd rather not tell you.
Don't you think it might ease your mind a bit if you did?
I don't think so. It isn't only the dream that frightens me. The feeling of apprehension that seems to take hold of me long after the dream is over.
That's because you permit yourself to dwell too much upon it.
Well, that could be.
May I make a suggestion?
Yes, of course.
When you see Dr. Bowling for your checkup Monday, supposing you discuss this dream with him.
Are you being sarcastic?
Of course not, my dear. I'm only trying to help you.
I'm sorry. I think you can turn out the light now. I'll try to go to sleep.
Good night, my dear.
Good night, Ted.
But you can't sleep, can you, Mater? You wait, tense, apprehensive, until you hear the regular breathing of your husband, until you know he's asleep. Then you quietly leave your room and go to Chucky's room and watch over a sleeping child whose life, for some reason, you dreamed had been snuffed out.
Here's America's newest wash day promise from the one and only Does.
White washes without red hands.
Yes, Does gives you white washes without red hands.
Are your hands suffering from using those no-rinse chemicals? Then see why women everywhere are going back to Does. Just accept this challenge.
Change to Does next wash day. Then inspect your clothes carefully. Have you ever seen such dazzling whiteness, such thorough cleanliness, such brilliant colors? Have you ever seen all this with such wonderful treatment for your hands?
Does can promise this because of the way Does is made. Only Does of all leading wash day products contain such great quantities of real soap, extra rich soap, combined with 2 modern detergents. That's why Does gets your clothes so wonderfully clean and white, while it gives extra safety for colors and almost toilet soap mildness to hands. Does does everything. So for white washes without red hands, get Does today. Mater keeps her appointment with Dr. Hewitt, child psychologist, in the next episode of The Guiding Light, brought to you by the new Does.
Put new Does in your washing machine. D-U-Z does everything.
This is Clayton Collier wishing you good day and good doesing.